Hey, everybody. Welcome to week three of Love, Sex, and Relationships. And we are so happy that you're hopping on here. As you're joining us tonight, we are definitely in a different scene
This
than
is not the podcast room.
this is not the podcast room at all. And so some of you who are coming on, you will notice that this is definitely different. Our first timers, you may not know the difference, but we are definitely not in our usual set. So let's do this real quick. As you're coming in, say hello. Hello. We're gonna give you a couple of minutes to come in. We are actually away, having some time of rest, relaxation, a bit of a reset. So as you're coming in, say hello to us. Let us know what city, state, and or nation you're joining us from. Let's see who is there tonight. Dr. J, hi. She don't like when I talk to her as if I haven't already seen her. Okay. So as you're coming in, say hello. Let us know what city, state, and or nation. If you're
There's
just
nobody there.
yeah,
So you just keep going. Those two people don't want to say their
yes they
city and
are.
state.
So yes, hello from San Bernardino. So great to have you tonight. Yes, they do. And so we are giving time. I want to give time for your folks to come in, and so that's the beauty of this being live, that we get to interact with folks. And so as they're joining us, so again, as you're jumping in here, let us know what city, state, and or nation you come in. This is Dr. J's most um, non-favorite part of being live, is asking people to share where they're watching
That's why I
from.
don't go live.
This is why you don't go live, because you don't like to do the beginning part. But let's jump in it tonight. Oh, Chicago's on. Hi, Joe in Chicago. So great to see you tonight. Chicago's on. See, we're national. We're all over the place. Please. We're in, we're in
Y'all
Texas.
social media people really be stretching it.
We're in Texas. Someone's here from San Bernardino. Someone's here from Chicago. After this is all said and done, hundreds of you would have watched this from literally, she's gonna really laugh at this, all over the world. Facts. You want to check the statistics? I can show it to you.
No,
Hundreds.
I know you have one person from Africa that
No,
watches everything that you post.
no, there is more than one person from Africa.
I do know
There
this.
are people watching from Canada. There are people watching from the UK.
And sometimes my baby daddy watches
You don't. Oh, you can't. Please don't do that and put that out there without explanation.
from his country.
Oh my God! For those that don't know, Dr. J.
No, we're not telling the story today.
Yes, I am. I'm not leaving that
No,
like
it's
that.
7:37. The show's over at 8:30. We have plans, so we don't have time.
Oh my gosh! So we're so happy on. If you haven't shared
There's
already,
two people on here. They know our story.
there is more than two people on here. So if you haven't already, and no, everybody does not know. There are people who go to your churches and don't know the story.
They not on here.
Yeah. Yeah, there could be people on here that do not know the story. That's the reality. But anyway, if you haven't shared already, press
We
the
do
share
have
button.
two international followers, and we really
I don't know
appreciate
what you have. I have more than two international followers.
y'all the
best. So while you're on, go ahead and press the share button at the bottom of the screen. Invite someone to come on. I want you to like, comment, share, engage with us in the comments tonight. So we talk to us, Dr. J. Kick us off. What we got today? What is the word of the week? You always lead the word of the week. What are you doing? So the word
Yeah,
of the
but
week.
last time you said something inappropriate.
I still don't know what this is. So the word of the week is ick.
But you have Gen Z children.
Yeah, they don't teach me the lingo, the language.
You have to listen to their conversations
I don't ever hear the kids say anything about ick.
and read their. Well, I'm talking about Riz.
Oh. Well, thank you all for participating, because some of you on TikTok, I'm on the TikTok now. So if you're not following us on TikTok, go follow us at with
This is getting
the
very
Doom Assist.
concerning.
And so while I was on TikTok, they came on and they were telling me that some people thought the same thing.
No.
Some of our viewers,
One person
two,
said they thought the same thing.
two.
So what is it?
What is ick? I mean, I'm assuming something nasty. Is that somebody coming in the gate?
I don't know. You just gonna sit here?
That was weird. They just opened our gate.
We have a whole private villa situation, and I think somebody just came on the patio. They're gone?
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
What in the whole?
Did you lock the door?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. What is ick?
Something nasty, something
What is that? I don't know what that means.
ick, something disgusting, something not cool. I don't know. What is ick? You know what it is, apparently.
Oh, yeah, it's just something that you don't like about like a person. It was like a whole like thing on social media where people were like, oh, my ick, or this is my ick, or whatever. It's just something people don't like about people.
I don't know anything about it, obviously.
Okay. I think I'm gonna take off the word of the week section.
Why? Because I'm not in the know.
No, because like even your guesses are like dry. I'm like something yucky. I'm like, well, but like think contextually, like so then and yeah, they're always like trendy words. So
Okay.
it's you're supposed to actually take like a stab at like what you think it is related to. There's supposed to be like a bridge to the actual topic of what we're talking about.
Got it. Well, I mean, I took my stab, but my stab wasn't great. Hello to those that are coming in. Hey, everybody. I just saw someone say hello. Great to have you on. So she's going to take the word of the week off, y'all, since I don't know what it is. And she
No, that's not why.
Okay.
Why am I taking it off?
Because I don't know the connection between the two.
No.
What did you say?
Oh, because you're not taking us. Oh, you just have to rewind and hear me say it again.
I took a stab. You didn't like my stab. Okay, Jaquette, Monique. Next. So today we want to talk about. First of all, we got such great feedback from last week's episode. People were hitting up on both Facebook, YouTube, and on TikTok, saying how much you enjoyed. So thank you for being on, and thank you for being a part of this limited series called Love, Sex, and Relationships. And so today we're taking it a bit further, and we want to talk.
So how would it relate to dating?
I don't know. Related. I don't know how it relates. I'm moving on to what we got. Related. Come out of her. Related. Okay, if not, I'm moving on. I'm not going to just sit here.
Okay.
All right. So tonight we want to talk about just in the journey of relationship. Oh, somebody's watching from Ohio as well. Hello from Ohio. Great to see you tonight. We're going to talk about potential versus reality. Potential versus reality. So for those that are out there who are yet on the dating scene, this is an important conversation to really have, because sometimes what ends up happening is that we see people and we see that they have great things on the turnoffs. See, one of our viewers said it connects with dating from turnoffs. Why are you looking like that? Because you didn't say nothing. So they stepped in to save the show. Turnoffs. So let's talk about.
Well, yeah, it's something you don't like. So, of course, if you're dating people, then if you have a bunch of icks, or you're like, that's ick, that's an ick, this is ick, this is ick, that's going to affect how you're actually dating. So, yeah. So what I was trying to get you to do was to help us bridge it into the main discussion, rather than like it be like so choppy. So, yeah, because you're like, you talk a lot. Oh, you was on a roll. So I was trying not to be on a roll today, because last week you just basically made it like I was talking too much.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you was like, you on a roll. So then I was like, okay, well, you can have it this week, bro. So I'm trying
so
to
that's why you're hesitating?
No, I'm not hesitating. I'm just letting you have some space so you could, do your thing.
Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't make the connection because I didn't understand the word.
It's something you don't like.
Yeah, I understand now. We're clear on it now. So now I'm moving forward to our topic of discussion today.
Well, yeah, because that will actually be framing what the discussion is, because this week we're talking about dating and, well, really how to be successful with dating. The first week it came up like, oh, people on this list, is your list your trap, blah, blah. We got a little bit into the list, but then we didn't really push too much into it because that week was actually just on love in general. So in specific, this week, yeah, if we are going to talk about how you make your decisions, then what you tolerate and what you're looking for are going to be extremely important. For some people, everything is an ick. So if you're talking about now, how do you actually pick who you're going to date? Do you do it based off of who they are now? Or do you do it based off of the potential that they have? So what is your balance with that as well? Because for some people, they're trying to date somebody who has completely arrived at a certain place. And then for other people, then they're like, no, I could see the potential. But the thing about it is everybody has untapped potential. So then how far do you go when it comes to deciding if you're going to date somebody by looking at who they are now versus the potential? And then how do you balance that?
Yeah, I think it's an important conversation to be had, because if you don't figure that out, then you could be frustrated later because of whatever status people are in or whatever place that they are in, because they didn't meet whatever it was that you wanted to be met, but they were who they were when you got with them. And so you got to walk through that journey of figuring it out and what it looks like. And so I think part of that journey is figuring out what is a red flag for you and what isn't a red flag for you. So what are your non-negotiables? And so I feel like there's some things that are non-negotiables for some people, but is it sometimes that we're being too picky? And so we've got to work through the journey of what standards are actually reasonable.
Yeah, I guess for me, what is your take on the potential versus reality, though? What is the balance between using that?
I think at the end of the day, I encourage people that if you can't marry the person the way that they are right now, let's say that they were never to change, they were never to grow, they were never to go to another level, and you couldn't take them for who they are right now and marry them, I don't know if you should be diving in super deep with the hope and faith that they're going to change. So a lot of people come in thinking, okay, the project, so they're going to change, or I'm going to pray hard, they're going to change, or I'm going to put them in the right environments, they're going to change. But I think you've got to be able to receive them as they are in order to make that decision.
Got it. I guess that's your opinion. You wouldn't be married, though.
What do you mean?
I married your potential.
You married my potential?
You had no money. You had a failing job who didn't even pay you month to month. Like, you didn't know what size underwear you wore when you went to the store.
You really trying to play my life.
You had started several entrepreneurial efforts and they all failed. Uh-huh. So I definitely married your potential. So I'm just really shocked. I'm shocked that is your advice to people, because you yourself would not be married if I hadn't married your potential.
I think you have to, touche in some ways. I think also there has to be strong signs. I don't know sometimes when people say potential, there aren't any strong signs concerning this potential.
But that's people. That's not, people don't define potential. Potential is potential, meaning you see something there and the person has the ability to possibly become somebody else. And you believe in that potential. You believe that with time, cultivate it and invested, whatever, whether that's from you or the space, or school, college, whatever, that person can become something else. I think, quite honestly, if you don't see potential in the person, then what are you all to become if you don't see them past what's actually there? By definition, that is potential. So you can't make up potential.
But I feel like people do make up potential.
But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about do you marry and date them for their potential or the reality of who they are right now? And what is the balance between that? We're not talking about like making up potential and all that kind of stuff. That'd be a whole nother like conversation, because like, why would you make up anything about anybody? So I think that the balance of it is that it cannot be something that you're trying to determine by your own hand. So what you're introducing to me is like additional concepts of like, oh, people taking on people as a project and stuff like that. That's not, that to me is a savior complex. And that's other things. That's not, oh, I saw your potential, and because of that, I'm willing to date you. I'm willing to marry you because I see that you have potential, as opposed to reality. I think that you also have to consider like wisdom and discernment, because if this person today, who they are today, you discern that this is not who God is calling them to be. God's called them to have another destiny or manifestation or whatever, however you interpret it. Discernment needs to be a big part of that.
Well, that's why I agree with you. The discernment does have to be a big part of it. That's why I did introduce this component or this part of it, because if you're not functioning or you're not walking in discernment, I feel like you can see stuff that's not really there. And I get you don't feel like that's a part of the conversation, but I feel like if we just blatantly talk about potential without having that part of the conversation, then we're just kind of letting people out there to their to whatever spaces they want to go in their head, without particularly leaning in, now, not to sound super deep, but to Holy Spirit, to be able to discern exactly what that potential is. It's an important piece of discerning what that potential is, so that you could see, hey, is this something worth investing in, or is this something that I wouldn't wait to see actualize?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when it comes to picking who you're going to date, this is why there needs to be shared accountability. So if there's shared accountability where the person that you are going to date is meeting your pastor, meeting your mom, your dad, I'm not creating an exclusive list, but I'm saying just whoever you choose to be accountable to, making sure that these people also have some healthy relationships in their lives. But whoever you choose, it has to be a shared agreement that this person has potential. I think that when you marry a person for who they are right now, alone, you run the risk of not being prepared for who they will become. I think that if you don't consider their potential for who they will become, then I don't think that you always have a balanced view of who you're actually getting into a relationship with. Yeah, no, it is very safe in these streets. He knows I married his potential. So once again, I'm actually just very shocked by his response.
Again, I feel like,
no, you didn't introduce discernment or anything like that. I introduced
no, beyond discernment.
So you can't
no. I'm not talking about discernment. I'm talking about there were some really clear signs that I was going to be amazing success. So that's all I'm saying. I heard what you're saying about where I was financially and what kind of
that's the definition
job.
of potential.
I understand, but no, my point is, some people don't have any clear sign. We just disagree on this. This is good for us.
But we can't talk about delusion in the same conversation with trying to give people like wisdom in reality.
Well, if you talk about shake them out of their delusion.
But if you talk about every delusional scenario, we'd have to talk all the way around the topic.
Got it.
Rather than talking midstream to the actual main people. If there's no signs that the person's going to be anything, there's no potential.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying.
What?
I'm saying the fact that is true, that so many people are seeing stuff that's not there. There is no potential. And so in those situations, that's not something you should be advancing forward with. I'm saying that you're like, oh no, I married your potential. And I'm like, yeah, that potential, I get what you're saying. I'll leave it there. Had a high level signs. That's all I'm saying.
If there are no signs, it's not potential.
Okay. I'm with it.
Amen.
I'm with it. So when to run is what we want to talk about as we move forward with it. If you're enjoying this tonight and enjoying our conversations together, and this is our real life conversations, just drop in the comments. I'm loving it. If you're loving it tonight, and if you haven't shared already, go ahead and press the share button and invite somebody to come on tonight. So let's talk about red flags tonight. Let's talk about when to run. And so I think that one of the things concerning running or true deal breakers is dealing with the truth of unhealthy patterns. And so one of the unhealthy patterns that I think we've seen is that people who dismiss or refuse to acknowledge their own red flags or what they have to work on.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be when. But you wouldn't be the runner.
You wouldn't run if that person is ignoring their own red flags?
Oh, okay.
If a person is ignoring the things that they need to shift and change in them,
Got it.
then I would think that would be a space that you would run from that kind of situation.
Maybe. I mean, I think the whole idea of red flags in general maybe just needs to be considered, because I think sometimes when people call stuff a red flag, it's not necessarily a red flag. I think that it is something that they don't like. So then they call it a red flag.
Oh.
I don't think that everything that you don't like is a red flag. So I think there's a difference between seeing something you don't like and then it actually being a red flag, which if it is a red flag, that's a deal breaker. So knowing the difference. But for some people, I know that are like dating people and they're like, oh yeah, we went on a date and you would not believe what he had on. His shirt looked like a country farmer. Red flag. And I'm just like, so stuff like that for me is just kind of like, I think this is part of the challenges with dating. You have some people that are out there that are so quick to pull a red flag, but it's once again all the way back to just their icks and their list of things that they just don't like. So they're willing to run because somebody made a poor fashion choice. But you're talking about a potential for somebody that you'll spend the rest of your life with. Like somebody, if you're a woman who is dating a man, then somebody who's going to lead like your household, be in charge of your destiny, and like we're writing them off or red flagging them because of their shirt that they wore. Like, so for me, when we talk about red flags, what's an actual red flag and what is a unreasonable red flag, then we're talking about bringing some balance and wisdom as you were making these decisions between the two. Because I think that the difference is some of these things that you just don't like are actually spaces for you to give grace to people.
Wow.
And really balance between, okay, it's something I don't like, but it's something that I could live with. Like, it's not going to kill me if I have to help him go shopping, if I have to help her go shopping. Like, especially if you think your fashion sense is so hot, like, it's not going to kill you if that person doesn't have the best fashion sense, you know? So to me, that wouldn't be like a deal breaker. So that would be acknowledging this idea that people can grow, and also considering that it's something that's so minor that it wouldn't affect what we can produce together, what we can be together. Yeah, so
got it. Well, I feel like there are some red flags, like if someone is hurting or disrespecting you, whether it be emotionally, physically, spiritually. I think that's a major red flag. That's something to pay attention to. And it's something at that point, if someone's like consistently doing that in your life, then it's time to run. It's time to go for a job away from that relationship. I think manipulation when people manipulate you, gaslight you, those kinds of things are one of the things that I feel like is worth running as well, in my opinion as well.
Yeah, I think you have to know the difference between being gaslit though and somebody pointing out something about you. Because sometimes people will say that they're being gaslit, but quite honestly, you just don't like that they're calling out the flaws in you, or that they're calling you out on your shortcomings. So I think, there's kind of a balance in that. So yeah, I think, something to consider.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sorry, I was reading the comments there. Somebody said, "Run for your life." And so, when people show absolutely zero accountability, I mean, I think that is something. Again, that's something to put your jogging shoes on and to run for. And here's why: when people don't have accountability, then there's no one for you to be able to no one to be able to call that person in down to the carpet. No one's able to deal with them, to help put them in a place of understanding where their shifts and their changes need to happen. There's no one for you to be able to go to, even if you got in a hot situation with that individual and they needed to be held accountable. If there's no one in that seat, run.
Yeah, I mean, I see that with a lot of people, like this idea where people are so much living their own life. And I think it can be kind of cool at first because you're like, oh, wow, this person's their own person. They make their own decisions. But there's going to come a time in your relationship, whether it's during your dating relationship, whether it's during your marriage relationship, there's going to come a time where you guys are going to have a disagreement, or a number of disagreements, and you're going to need a solid third party. And you're going to need that solid third party to be something that your spouse, your future spouse, your potential spouse actually listens to. And this might be you. You don't have any accountability. If you don't have any accountability, I don't think that you should even be looking to date. If there is nobody in your life that could come to you and tell you today, like, you're wrong, what you're doing is wrong, you're making a bad decision, you can't see it right now, but as a person that you're accountable to, you're making a bad decision. If there's nobody in your life that you would actually receive that from, just trusting that they have your best interest in mind, not questioning their agenda, oh, they just don't want me to have a man, all that kind of stuff. But if you don't have that kind of accountability in your life, you shouldn't be looking to date. And if that person doesn't have it, you shouldn't be looking to date them. I tell women in specific, if the man that you're thinking about dating does not have a pastor who knows their name, knows their history, knows their sins, deepest and darkest, do not date them. I'm telling you right now, do not date them. They are going to make your life hell, especially if you are a person who is accountable, or has that kind of structure in your life. They will ruin your life. I've seen it time and time and time again. I also have been told time and time and time again, you just don't want me to be happy. You just don't understand. You just. I'm telling you from years and years of experience, run for your life. If this person that you are dating says they have not been able to find a church, run for your life. You cannot afford to link, and this is not no universal advice. Y'all know we're believers, so we're not going to give you no universal advice. We're telling you straight up. If this person is not rooted, grounded, and planted, they have no courts to flourish in. So I'm telling you right now, if they have lived their life and they haven't been able to find a church, then they can't find you.
Oh my.
Because what level of relationship with Holy Spirit do they actually have where they could not find in all of God's green earth somewhere for them to find, to be developed and trained? That means it's not a value for them. They're telling you that without telling you that. It's not a value for them. And if you cannot find this person, male or female, at the feet of Jesus, and in his house, don't do it. I'm telling y'all right now. And people are like, oh, church is not that big of a deal to me. Okay.
It needs to be huge for you, because at the end of the day, they need to be able to have a place of growth and development. And if they are not on the trajectory of growth and development, they cannot, either if it's a male, they can't lead the way. If it's a woman, she will not be able to even be submitted in an environment. You won't be able to have mutual submission for each other. Like, there has to be tracks and practices that you have already begin to walk through, and you find that inside of accountability and faith community. Like, there is practices, there are disciplines that are created for you inside of those places. And so if you don't have those spaces, it makes it beyond hard for you all to be able to find success in building relationship, and for it to be healthy at the end of the day.
Absolutely. The church is God's family.
Very good.
The person is not prepared to build a family with you if they haven't had practice building in God's family, because your personal family is to be birthed out of God's family. So it's already working backwards. They don't even have the building blocks necessary to build a life or a future with you. Okay, so we're going to play a little game with those of you who are on here. So we're going to have you drop a red flag or nah. Okay, so NaH, you red flag or nah. So we are going to give you a concept, and then you're going to tell us, oh no, that really is a real red flag. Or you're like, nah, that's just your preference. That can be, there's grace for that. Okay, so tell us what you think. Okay, here's the first one. So the person has a lack of emotional maturity, right? So they avoid conflict. They blame other people for stuff. They refuse to take accountability. They lack some emotional maturity. So what do you think? Red flag or nah, work with them? Red flag or nah, work with them?
We'll give you a minute to put that in the comments. While you're putting it in the comments, I do want to encourage those who have hopped on. If you haven't shared this already, you can share it. If you didn't know this, you could grab the literal link and you could text it to someone. You as well could you can share it in your Instagram stories. You can share it on your Facebook. Okay.
Are people not gonna comment because they don't want to be wrong?
Well, there's people like red. I think somebody's typing something, but it's not coming across.
Got it. Okay.
Because I don't know what Teresa or Tashawn's. I can't see theirs. There's no text in there, but we see red there for sure.
Now, for us, we would say red. And of course, we aren't like the gospel on it all, right? But we would say red. There is, once you start to intertwine your personal feelings with other people, things get double complicated. And so if you find that this person lacks emotional maturity, you have to give them some space. I do not think that you should continue to date somebody who has like signs of emotional immaturity. I think that it will end up causing you way more pain and frustration than it does anything else. And I know sometimes, especially I've seen women, I probably talk to more women about their dating, so you could talk about men, but I've seen more women want to nurture these men because they desire to have children. But there is a big difference between nurturing some baby grown man with lack of emotional maturity than when you get to have your children and nurture them. Don't do it, sis.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've talked to some guys who definitely have been in situations with women who are emotionally immature. And what happens in their emotional immaturity is that they end up moving into a lot of manipulation and control through their emotions. And so a lot of the guys experience that where, but it's even over no one should ever use manipulation, but they try to manipulate over the smallest of things, where they're going to go eat and that kind of thing like that, using emotions to try to turn the table in a certain direction. And so it can become very, very much is giving, y'all probably say I call everything witchcraft, but it's giving witchcraft. It's giving. I want to get it my way, so then I'm going to.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think they're probably mature though, right?
Emotionally mature?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think they know what they're doing?
Not always. If you're reared in an environment where that's a norm of manipulation and control through emotionalism or through emotions, you might not be acutely aware of the fact that you're functioning that.
Got it. Either way, run for your life. Ain't nobody your baby to take on as a project. And you're like, everybody needs love. They do, but they don't need your love.
Okay.
So let them take some space and grow up.
Here's another one. And I see all of y'all red flags. Now I can see it on the actual emojis. But here's another one that we'll throw out there. Inconsistent behavior. Inconsistent behavior. So in the inconsistent behavior, they say one thing, but they do another. Okay. So, they talk about commitment, but they never act on it. Inconsistent behavior.
What do y'all think? Red flag or
no?
Nah, work with them. These curls is really taking me out. They're just too unruly.
But at least you should be. I know you're a little bit happier because you didn't want them as curled up as they were. Now they fallen.
Yeah, I was trying to get them to be a little flatter and more ruly. Okay, what do y'all think? Inconsistent behavior, red flag or nah? Work with them.
No, work with them is crazy. So we got a red.
Oh God.
We got a red.
We got a strong red.
Well, I think Holloway says a lot of things are red. Red.
No, but y'all on our street. Now, here's our advice. And once again, this is just from years and years of being married and from counseling people. If people are inconsistent with their behavior, like you're not sure whether they want to date you or they want to friend you. You're not sure if they want to be married or if they want to just have fun. Like, if people are not able to make their intentions clear, run for your life. I know somebody right now. This guy has been extremely inconsistent. They keep talking to him.
Every time they see him, I don't even know who you're talking about, but I'm just every time we might be talking about the same person. They in their face, like
we talking about the same person.
Like just move on.
And I told him, you need to make yourself clear, because as inconsistent as they're being in their behavior, you rolling with it, you're a part of the problem. People do this kind of stuff because people accept it from them.
Right.
Make them choose. Make them choose who they're going to be. Make them choose what their approach is. Make them choose what the definition is. So I think that you got to realize you cannot date 3 people at the same time. So they have to have consistent behavior, because you can't date all 3 of them. Like, so yeah, for us, that is a red flag. I've seen it time and time again, because yeah, even though it may in the end work out in your favor, right? Where that person kind of shapes up and becomes consistent at some point, if they have a pattern of being inconsistent that you were okay with in the dating process, then, and it just goes unaddressed, then that inconsistency is going to pop up in other areas, and it's going to be a frustration point.
Okay, number 3, disrespectful to others. I mean, come on. Yeah, amen. Disrespectful to others. Watch how.
You're leading.
I'm sorry. Watch how they treat servers, right? So you're watching how they treat servers, their family, people that they don't know or need to impress will oftentimes tell on them. Okay, so if they're disrespectful to others, is that a red flag? Oh, nah, I can train them. I can teach them.
Well, you already said it was a red flag. You gave.
I could hold that one back. I could hold that one back.
Because, but people accept it.
But
people date rude people all the time. If the person you're potentially dating is disrespectful to other people, like if they talk to you bad about their mom, they talk to you bad about their boss, they disrespect random people in the street. Like, if they are disrespectful, it's a red flag, because they have it in them to do. They don't value people at the core of people. I'm not talking about they made a mistake and acted out of character or something like that, or they did something and had to apologize, or somebody did something to them and they felt some kind of way about it, but they balance it well. No, if the person is disrespectful, would like pop off at somebody, don't do it. I'm telling you, it is a major red flag. Okay, what about this? This person, they are slow to respond to communication. They're slow to respond to communication. Red flag or nah, work with them. What y'all think? Red flag. I can't stand rudeness. Agreed. What is
Just process it.
So for us, it's a work with them. Now, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because everybody, especially depending on what age you are, everybody is not big on texting back or immediate calls, and or you may have a high capacity person that has a lot on their plate. I don't want for you to rob yourself of somebody that could be a potential mate for you because you live on your phone and they don't.
Yeah.
Like, just keeping it real. We know somebody, young person, who Gen Z, dating somebody, and when I tell you one of them live on the phone, the other one don't. And one of them gets super frustrated because the other one's not texting back immediately. And they're like, oh my God, my phone died. And I just didn't see it for a few hours,
right.
you know? So I think that the way that you work with it, though, is to make your expectations clear. To say, like, hey, sometimes, you know, when you don't get back to me, this is how I feel, whatever the case is. And let that person say, oh, well, I'll definitely get back to you, you know, within a day, blah, blah, blah. But I think that it is a quick write-off that people make. Because it's like, I text him and, you know, it's been a whole hour. He ain't text me back. If I was important, then he would text me back, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Don't assume the fact that the person isn't into you or doesn't like you as much as you like them because they are not connected to the device that way. I think that could be a horrible mistake to make because a person, like we said, could just be a person that's just not connected to their phone that way, but are very much into you and they do like you. It's just going to be the need to have expectations, conversation around communication and not trying to push your way of operating on them, but finding a middle ground.
All right, what about this one? They have roommates or they live at home with their parents. They have roommates or they live at home with their parents. What y'all think? Red flag or nah, work with them? I think I have an idea of what people are going to say to this one too. Because we only talking from experience. I know people who, you know, have approached this a couple of different ways. And of course, we have a take on it because we have a take on all the stuff that we're talking about today. So for us, what is it?
Work with them, right? From the majority of them. Now, it's an interesting space to be in. What I mean by that is specifically, and I think we're in agreement on this, and if not, I'm sure you'll say, if it's a male and this male has been, it really depends on how long they've been living with their mother. If it's a mama situation, in my opinion, it matters how long they've been living there and what they've been, and what they've been doing,
so if
doing while they were working there.
So if they're a guy, they lived at home with their mother for 35 years.
Yes,
they have $500,000.
That's what I'm saying. What they're doing?
But you said how long?
Well, how long and what they're doing. So maybe not how long. What they've been doing while they're there.
I think that's cultural.
How they're dealing with their resources.
Yeah, I think that's cultural though, because some people have been living on their own and getting debt. So I would prefer that you were living at home and making wise choices. So yeah, I said, okay, they have $500,000 or whatever. But even if they don't have that, to me, if you have good credit and you're living at home, that's enough. Because what is living on your own like prove? Like, what does that actually prove?
I think in some ways, for me, it proves that you're going to be able to handle a household. So like if a
does it?
Not necessarily.
I was
but
like,
if
no,
a guy,
no. Think about that. Think about all the people that we know that live on their own. Does the act of living on your own prove that you can run a household?
No, it didn't even prove it for me. So I'm not.
What we're talking about is red flags to cut people off.
I guess.
Or work with them.
Work with them.
We're not saying.
Okay, work with them.
Yeah, I'm like.
Work with them.
That's I don't know if we agree on this one.
No, I can see work with them. I feel like you gotta have some investigation in it too.
But that's what work with them is.
Yeah, work with them. Yes.
We're talking about people cutting off.
Okay.
Immediately.
Okay.
I know people who will find out that somebody lives at home with their mom
and then be done.
Done.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, I think there's a lot more to look into rather than just cutting them off because you found out that they live at home. Some people I know live on their own. They're in deep debt. They've gathered evictions. That's what it's called.
When you get kicked out of your place?
Yeah.
Yes, stupid.
I don't know why I said it and then I wasn't sure. I ain't never got one, y'all. I don't know. But they gather in evictions, bad credit, all kind of stuff. They still don't know how to balance their own bills. But I know some people who live at home because they're helping their own parents out.
That's true.
So they don't have a reason to go out there and have their parents suffer, and then they can actually help their parents. It just could be a lot more to it.
And I guess that's not fair. You're right. It's cultural for me in my head to be like, if it's a dude, you need to be out there, and if it's a woman, it's okay for you to stay home. So I guess that is cultural for sure. Because I'm just thinking about my daughter.
I'm just saying it's something to think about.
Yeah, even my daughter, if that was the situation, I don't know that I will. Yeah. Anyway, let me move on. What about this one? They have a different love language than yours. They have a different love language than yours. Is it a red flag, or is it work with them? Right.
So you like, I'm words of affirmation all day. But they're like, no, acts of service. Mm-hmm. And you like, are you gonna say red flag? Or you like, I'll work with them?
So while you're writing, while you're typing, we'll go ahead and tell you what our opinion on it. It is definitely.
No, you about to say your opinion because clearly
it is definitely work with them. So I mean, it became more evident the older we got, just even in our relationship, that our love languages or different. And I don't know that I was as clear of that before we got married, but once we got married, I became ultra clear of it. So like I am major words of affirmation and gifts, and she is without a doubt acts of service, right? But I think you work with them because that's what you're in any relationship. You need to learn what that person's love language is, and you speak their love language, and they learn what yours is, and they learn to speak your love language.
Yeah, and I think that sounds, like, okay, does that make sense? But I know people.
Yeah.
No, I know people who like, Valentine's Day came around, they ain't barely give me nothing.
Right.
I got a balloon. Okay, but if you really are willing to work with people's love language, you got to work with their love language and give them space to learn yours and be able to communicate yours. So I'm like, appreciate your flowers. Also, can you clean the room? But I do know people who will red flag somebody because they're like, they never tell me I'm pretty, or they never tell me I'm this, or they never tell me I'm that. So it's a no. But we have experienced that people can genuinely, because this is not about changing the person. And I think that's another reason why this is a work with them.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to actually change the person. You just need to teach them what your love language is. And you need to learn theirs. So they, to their core, don't have to actually change. They just need knowledge.
That's good.
Okay, what about this one? Lack of effort. So they only hit you up when it's convenient, more based on them, and or they don't really initiate plans or deep conversation. So you just overall get from them like, they don't put forth too much effort. What y'all think? Red flag or nah? Work with them. Work with them. What'd you think? Lack of effort. Remind me of all the talk conversation about like, oh, he's just not that into you. Was that a movie or a book?
I don't know.
Movie or a book? Movie or a book? I can't remember. Okay, Shay said red flag. Now, Shay, we've been neck and neck on these, and I'm with you. It's a red flag because 2 different love languages is one thing, but you just lack the effort. Period, is another thing. So if you put forth the effort and didn't hit like it was supposed to, okay, but you're just not initiating plans. You're not going the extra mile. Like, yeah, that's a red flag because that shows you how willing they are to invest in the relationship. We know somebody else who, if it's on them to make the drive, do the meetup, do the showing up, then that person is cool. But every time it's time to be reciprocated, that person ain't nowhere to be found. Okay? So I think run for your life.
Yeah.
Are you going to say something?
I am going to say something.
Oh, I was like, it's 8:26.
So what? So I think I'm just playing with you. I think it's a red flag. My hesitation around it was that some people just haven't learned what relationships look like, but it's not your job to teach them. So it's not your job to teach them.
It's not.
It's not your job to teach them. So that's at the end of the day, that's where it is. Yeah, I would agree. Red flag. So listen, in some of these situations, of course, some of us we're married and there is no getting out outside of a biblical stance. So I think for our married folks that could be watching tonight, I think that it's important for you to have some conversations around anything that could still potentially be a situation where you like, oh my God, there's some major differences here. Like we've been talking about this over the last several weeks about the necessity to have conversation and to be able to express yourself and not hold those things in. All right.
Yeah, I mean, some of y'all dated people that are red flags.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, sucks for you.
The people who dated them or who are married to them?
We're married to him.
Oh, you said sucks for you?
Yeah. What?
It's not all is not gone. Hope is not lost, right?
No.
Oh, okay. You just said sucked for you and you left it there. So I was just like, okay.
Well, to me, because the whole thing of like looking for an out, you just are not looking for an out.
No.
So to me, that's a different week.
Well, there is no out, but that's what I'm saying. I just wanted to encourage the married people who are out there who are watching this tonight, who they're like, well, yeah, I'm in it now. So what do I do? And so the conversation.
Right. Then we have that conversation next week.
Oh, okay. Okay, Jaquette. So we have.
All right. Let's take some audience questions.
That's what I'm moving to. Thank you. Let's take some audience questions. Anybody out there have questions on relationships as a whole? Anything, love, sex, and relationships? Drop your.
You're asking me if I have questions?
No, I'm asking you. I was looking at you I was looking for affirmation concerning it could be anything on love, sex, and relationships.
Sure.
Yes. If you have any questions at all, drop them there.
We don't generally get a ton of questions at the end, so that's why we kind of went a little bit closer.
We
don't generally get a ton. We didn't ask for questions ahead of time this week, which I think might have been the best week of questions because we got a lot of ahead of time questions. And then some people tuned in to just see the answer to their questions are also.
So Shay said these answers got her feeling like she is ready to date. So I love that.
Yeah.
I love that for you. And hey, jump in the ocean.
Yeah, and that's our goal, is to not, just kind of help people disqualify themselves, but to affirm and confirm that some people are on that right track. You are thinking in a very balanced way. You're mixing both wisdom with being reasonable, but then also not setting yourself up for failure or to be ran over. So good for you. And we really hope you find somebody. Years ago, we tried to do like a little matchup, like a little mating thing, because we are pretty good at calling when it's going to work and when it's not going to work. I'm just tell you right now.
We have one that we really disagreed about. But
it didn't. What?
We have one matchup that we disagree about.
Who?
I'm not gonna say their names on the internet, but you think that it cannot work, and I think it can work.
It's not a match.
What do you mean it's not a match?
They're not dating. So my statement was, every relationship we've called, whether it was going to work or not.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Those people never dated.
Okay. Moving on.
Okay.
We should do a matchmaking thing, though.
No. So my point of saying that was that we try to do it, and quite honestly, the liability with it is insane, and I would not do it. I know another lady minister who has done it, and a couple of her matches, just even on her social media, have worked out. People have gotten married. It's been beautiful. But for now, I will watch Auntie do it, because I do like to watch Indian Matchmaker, because this is how much I really think that you can look at people's like backgrounds and things like that and know if this is going to work or not after they make that initial meetup. So
Shay, to answer your question, she said, I'm interested in knowing how the Lord revealed that you guys were kingdom spouses. So for me, I don't know what it was like for her, but for me, I knew in 1997, the day I asked her to be my girlfriend, that I was going to marry her and spend the rest of my life with her. How God, people think I'm being funny when I say it.
No, we don't, because you haven't said it yet.
Hey,
but if you say it,
put almost like an aura around her. I looked over at her, and literally, she was like shining brightly into my physical eyes, and I knew, and that was the individual I was spending the rest of my life with. How did you know?
Extremely impractical.
Well, that's what happened for me. I can't say what it is for everybody else. So, but how did you know? Wow, I don't think I've ever asked you that.
Yeah, when we were dating, that wasn't something that I was looking to find out or know. So he was my choice. That's it. So I don't know that. Well, for sure, we definitely don't believe in like the one or anything.
We don't
like
believe that there is a one.
But
here's the concept behind it, because we have to tell them. We got to tell them.
I'm talking.
Go ahead.
But I do think that if you make a choice and consider like what that person is to become, if your gifts complement each other, you're not pursuing two completely different directions. If that person believes in the Lord, has a strong relationship with the Lord, you believe in the Lord, have a strong relationship with the Lord, you guys agree on the main things, like big life things, as far as, do you want to have kids or not, stuff like that, then I think that God gives you a choice. So I think that the idea of like being like a kingdom spouse really has to do with you having a strong relationship with the Lord. So I don't know that I really was looking for much more than this is the commitment that I'm willing to make. And that probably is part of why we work so hard, especially because we know a lot of people who are meeting people later on in life to have like a little more wisdom and direction as they are choosing and moving forward, because it is a big decision that I think a little more should go into than maybe what my personal process was or his aura experience, because I don't think everybody has that. So that's why we hope to share with people some more like practical approaches to it, and the reality that there are a lot of people who you could match with and it can work well for you.
Absolutely. So we want to thank all of you for being on tonight. We will share some more next week, because I do want to share with you about our concept around the one and why we don't believe in it. But we are away for rest, relaxation, and a reset. And so we have plans, so we're going to go. But I want to encourage you to like and comment on this video even after. So afterwards, go like, comment on it, and then also, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, join the over 2,011 people who have subscribed to this channel. We have brand new content that will be coming and content that we're going to continue to offer to you to add value to your life. And then, of course, share this with others that are around you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Monday. We have one more Monday to go and in love, sex, and relationships, and we're excited about it.
Bye, guys.
Good night.